So I finally started Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and I'm really liking this world so far. It is a place where there is a scientific study of the Fae, the folk. It's called Dryadology, and Emily Wilde is a professor. She's a professor from Cambridge who does study the folk, and she has traveled many different places and documented what she has learned about different folk. And right now she is in a village, a Scandinavian village, very small Scandinavian village, where she is studying the hidden ones because she is trying to put together an encyclopedia, because there are different studies on the Fae but not a whole entire encyclopedia that she is now putting together, and the hidden ones are supposed to be her last chapter. So far I'm not very far in. I'm like 20 pages in, but I am really intrigued. It seems like it is doing a lot of exploration on the folklore, and also Emily has a dog named Shadow, and I love him. Hello, I just took a break from reading to eat a snack. It has to happen sometimes, we have to eat, but I just wanted to say that it also seems like it's written via Emily's journal. Where I am so far, I'm reading it as if I'm reading Emily journaling about her experience. So that's pretty neat. I will also say that Emily seems to be neurodivergent, and her special interests are the Fae, the folk, I mean, she's obviously a professor and this is what she studies, but she talks about being interested in this during childhood and being very misunderstood by other people. But I might also be projecting because I'm neurodivergent and I very much like the Fae and their folklore and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, you can't prove it. I also love the mystery of it all. The lighting in here is so bad, but who cares? I love the mystery of it all with she didn't think that the hidden ones could be that bad or that different from, oh, it looks like there's a spider on my ceiling, so I might have to catch that and put that outside in a second. But I'm in my Jimmy Jammies. Anyway, everything she learns, the more and more she learns about this village and like what's going on with the folk, is more and more disconcerting. And so I love the mystery of it all there and knowing that things are going to continue to unravel. And I also really like, hold on, let me check her name. I also love Thora. She's just a strange and off-putting old woman that has no time for small talk and is just, this is how things are. I'm gonna keep knitting now. We love that for her. We love that so much. I'm gonna be so distracted by that spider. I just want to keep looking up at it. But first, before I take care of the spider, and I'm going to put it outside, don't worry, unless it tries to bite me. But before I take the spider outside, I want to show you my July TBR and talk a little bit about that. So as soon as I finish Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies and Map of the Otherlands, I'm going to jump into One Dark Window. You guys probably saw this in my winter reading vlog because I did get it from my Secret Santa for Christmas, so I'm very excited to finally be reading it. And then I have A Very Society of Irregular Witches. I talked in my anticipated releases for 2024 about the next book in this series, but they all seem to be standalone, so I hadn't actually read this yet, but I heard good things about the next book and about this book, and I really like witches, so I am still excited for the second one, because even if I don't like this one, which I think I will, I'll still read the second one because they seem to be in the same world but completely different stories. So we will see about these. This is one of the last books I actually plan on reading in July, and I'm going to vlog myself reading it, and that'll probably be up closer to Halloween because I am finally at a point where I'm filming way in advance. So by the time this is up, I will probably have read. I will probably have read a lot of these books already. That was just on the top of this pile, but it's one of the last ones I plan on reading because of my filming schedule where I am right now. Things are going to be way ahead, and I'm so happy to finally be at a place where I was way ahead, because the past couple of months I'd be filming and then uploading like the day after. And I like to, like, I edit fast, but I also like to take the time to make sure it's edited well. And so, like, I like to come back the next day and see if I missed anything that I want to fix up a little bit or whatever. So, that being said, I'm finally at a place where I am filming, like, at least 2 months in advance. So, pretty cool. Another book that I will be vlogging and will be up sooner, closer to when I am uploading this video, probably still, like, a month later, but whatever. Trust of the Emerald Sea has been highly recommended to me, and I've never read Brandon Sanderson before. Can you believe I've never read a Brandon Sanderson book before? And I'm you know, I'm a fantasy fan and everyone always talks about Brandon Sanderson. A lot of my friends have talked about Brandon Sanderson, so I can't wait to finally read a Brandon Sanderson book. The next one is Iron Widow. So I am so excited to read this book. I have read good things about it. I've seen quotes from it online, which I know is like the big marketing thing right now, but just everything about this book appeals to me. And I will also be vlogging myself reading it. So a lot of these books I'm going to be vlogging because that's the way the second half of the year is going to go for me. It's going to be a lot of reading vlogs. I am going to review like One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns and that kind of stuff. Like if it's a series, I'd rather do a review, but any book that I'm not reading the whole series of for the second half of this year will most likely be a vlog just because of my schedule. Just like, I'm not trying to become a vlogger, if that makes sense. Like, nothing against vloggers. I love a good scripted video, but I also like doing these vlogs, and just the way my schedule is working out, vlogs will be easier for the second half of the year, so that's what I'm doing. So no one asked, but this is one I will be doing a series review of if I like the first one and the second one. Divine Rivals. I am so excited to read this. I am hopefully going to be able to read the second one on Libby. Hopefully it'll be ready in time when I'm reading this. What I try to do is when I've already started this book, when I'm in the middle of this book, I will put it on hold on Libby, and hopefully by the time I'm done, it's ready on Libby. You know what I mean? I might do a separate video in the future kind of talking about using Libby, and I also use Hoopla. So if anyone's interested on learning how those two things work, if you've never used them before, just kind of want to hear what I like about each of them, I might do that video. I don't think that's a spider, actually. That doesn't look like a spider. I don't know what it is. It's freaking me out, though. And Hurricane Wars. This is one I'm going to vlog as well, because the second one isn't out yet, and I'm really hoping I will like it. I have recently learned that it is also inspired by Raylo, like A Love Hypothesis, but I did like A Love Hypothesis, and I just have things against the Star Wars sequels, which I've talked about in the Love Hypothesis vlog, but I've heard really good things about this romantasy, and I'm excited because I really love romantasy. I think I've made that pretty obvious, but... Oh, and then the final book I plan on reading in July, which I will also be vlogging, and I might not get to this book until August, because as you can see, I have a lot of books to read, and then like a couple of them, I have the sequels to read that I don't have the sequels, and I plan on reading in Libby, whatever, you get it. Howl's Moving Castle, I've never actually read. Heard great things about it. Like, forever I've heard great things about it, and I cannot wait to read it. I'm gonna vlog this as well, but that, again, all of these things I'm saying I will vlog. By the time I upload this Emily Wilde's vlog, it might be a couple months before you finally see that vlog, but these are just things to look forward to, and just I wanted to show you my TBR, because this is a book reading vlog, and sometimes, even though I mainly am here to talk about Emily Wilde, it's fun to talk about other things too. I am definitely gonna take that spider outside, unless it's something that can fly and attacks me. Okay, I'll be back. Y'all just missed quite the adventure. The spider fell onto my bed, and I was ready to just give the bed to the spider and move out, but then it came out. And it's gone now. It's outside now, and everything's fine, but that was... Okay, so I know the first fairy she encountered was described as unsightly, but to me, he was just a little guy. And this is why I could never be a dryadologist if that were a real thing, because people would be like, that's a dangerous creature, and I'd be like, no, actually, that's my friend. I love the shadow of the phone on my face, but it's probably for the best anyway, because I'm currently living a low-res life, aka I haven't been sleeping, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm just gonna read today. I'm going to hopefully finish the first book. Right now, where I'm at, things have been complicated by Wendell showing up. He is her, I'm thinking love interest, but he's her friend / academic rival, but I wouldn't really call it so much of an academic rivalry. I understand why it's considered an academic rivalry, but there's a friendship too, and there's definitely, they definitely care for each other, and there's definitely there's probably romantic feelings. I'm picking up the vibe of romantic feelings, but at least from Wendell. But the reason why things are complicated because now, well, Wendell has joined her in researching, but he has also proposed that they present this together, whatever they find together, at a conference and he has his own reasons for wanting to do that, but it's supposed to help her with her book, kind of do a little bit of publicity and marketing to get herself out there, to make a name for herself, so that way she can sell her book more easily. So that was obviously very appealing to Emily, and now she only has 3 months to get her research done because of when the conference is. So that again throws kind of a wrench in her plans, but I'm interested to see how that contributes to the rest of the story, especially whatever's going on there romantically. Also, I'm a little bit scared. Some of the mysterious stuff is pointing a little bit towards horror because there are some malevolent fae. Okay, so it was a changeling, the malevolent fae, and according to Poe, Bumblebee is a prince. So, okay, here's the thing. Some of this is kind of horrifying, but it's still so cozy. Like, I really enjoyed the part where she was telling stories that the townsfolk told, because even though they were terrifying, it was like sitting around a fire listening to stories. It was just a nice cozy folklore section. I enjoyed it. Honestly, what I want to know now is, what is Shadow's mystery? So I finished the first Emily Wilde last night, as I said I would. So, good morning. It was such a cozy story. I've said that a million times, but that's truly the best way to describe it. Even though it would get a little bit spooky sometimes, it was still so cozy. And I really loved Wendell's reveal and his story of him actually being an exiled fae prince. It was true. And Shadow's reveal. I feel like Emily's story and her childhood experiences, if you're neurodivergent, could probably relate to at least some of it. I really loved her arc and the way that she found a community that she came to care for and found out she could actually rely on other people. It was so heartwarming by the end. Even Poe was calling her family, and I was about to cry over that. And then everyone else in the village was saying she was like family, and I just really loved that for her. I love how her and Wendell's affection towards each other continue to grow throughout the story. They're not quite together yet, but also, I loved the tonal shift when Wendell was journaling. It's exactly how I would have expected him to write as an exiled fae prince / king for a day, or however long he was a king. And also good for Emily for having 2 fae kings wanting to marry her. Like, and now I am just on to the next book. So I'm not even like 100 pages into this book yet, I think. I'm reading it on Libby and I'm reading it on my iPad, so it makes the pages shorter. If that makes sense, it's like there's less pages than there usually are in the book. So, because I'm reading it on my iPad. Anyway, it's already kind of wild. I mean, Emily Wilde, but they're back at Cambridge. I've learned more about the dryadology department at Cambridge, and so that's been interesting. But Emily is now kind of focusing her research on finding Wendell's door. So they're kind of working together still, and well, they are working together still. And now Emily's niece is a student at Cambridge, so she's involved because she's kind of made herself Emily's assistant. It's already kind of crazy, but I'm enjoying it so far. I've really already attached to these characters, so I'm very excited to see where their stories go. Hello, it's another low res day, and I have a singular minute to film this. I am almost done with the second book. I know I haven't even said anything about like the plot, so I'm just gonna say really quick. I have it written down, all the stuff I want to say, and I'm probably gonna say when I finish it because again, I have to leave in like a minute. But so what I wanted to say real quick is we visit Poe again, and that was very important to me. And also a fox fairy falls asleep on Emily's lap. It's a vicious little fox fairy. It was very cute. Okay, so I finished the book yesterday. Things got wild though, so I have been all over the place, but I can finally talk about all of my thoughts. So in this book, the department head comes with them on their expedition, and the biggest issue with that is that he kind of keeps reminding Emily that the folk, the fae, are not supposed to be amiable creatures, that they are supposed to be vicious and she can't trust them and shouldn't be friends with them, and she doesn't truly know Wendell like she thinks she does. So that's kind of the big wrench that he throws into everything. He just tells her to focus on the science and not be a silly mortal girl who falls for a fae king or prince or whatever. And I'm like, no, just let her. just let her have that storyline. It's fine. I'm sure it'll end up just fine. But yeah, and then there's these Vulpine fae that I love. Like, yes, they are bloodthirsty and they do start to eat the department head a little bit, but as the one fox that she named Snowbell said, it was just a little bit. And also, Snowbell helped Emily on her mission in Wendell's land, which is a whole, we're getting ahead of ourselves. But he was so cute. He crawled up in a different part because she goes to visit Poe and the fox brings her to Poe, which I love it so much. And he crawls and falls asleep on her lap, the fox, Snowbell, and the fox fae. And then Poe was so happy for the return of Poe. Like, I'm literally gonna adopt this little creature, this little brownie. I loved how he talked about being small and shy, but he likes being small now, and it was just so cute. And then he comes back later, like, so happy that she has Poe as her family, because here's the thing, the growth from the first book to the second book, like, she started the first book not even considering working with anybody else. She was like, I always work alone, I work best alone, I'm not trying to befriend the villagers. And of course, we know in the first book that's not how it ended up, but in the second book it wasn't even a question. Like, she was going with Wendell and her niece was coming too, and then the department head came along. But it was like, she still has times where she kind of regresses and was like, this would be easier if I were alone, and she definitely has to work on her communication with her niece. Like, that was kind of her arc from the beginning to the end of this book, was working on her relationship with her niece and just like also figuring out, could she really trust Wendell and that kind of stuff. So she still had growth in this book as well, which I really appreciated. Like, they found the nexus in this book, but they have to find a new way in the next book, and then they have to take care of things in Wendell's realm and try to get him back on the throne. So there's still a lot of stuff in the next book, even though so much growth has happened from the first book to the end of the second book, and they already like took the next step in Wendell and Emily's relationship. But it's still like, there's so much that can be done, and there's so much that can be developed still, and there's so many questions that need to be answered that I am very excited for the second book. I didn't know that I would like this book as much as I did. I knew I would enjoy it, but like, I really loved these books. So they've made it onto my list of top 20, which I know is a lot, but they're still pretty high up there. And also, with all the books I read, it's an honor to be on that list, I think. But that is all I have for this vlog. I know it was kind of all over the place. Like and subscribe for more reading vlogs that will hopefully be less all over the place, and I will see you soon. Bye!